Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Ramsey's Rockin' Roads. It is my pleasure, my delight to be here with Funny Boy Shane and Timmy Claborn.
Yes.
How you been?
Good. How you doing?
This
Yes.
guy leaves me hanging every time.
I'm still in shell shock that you had me come back.
I know. Well, it's been 2 years. I'm gonna just give the audience a brief update. It's been 2 years since you were here. The last time we were at the Santa Maria Library, it was ending your first year in business.
Yes.
Which that first year is always the exciting year. So yeah, tell everybody the growth and the good things, the bad things, and everything. What share your 2 years of experience.
Yeah, after the first year, it was still just by myself. I had my dad help me on jobs, and Raina would come out and help me. And so coming into that second year, started getting big enough where I actually needed employees. So I hired my first foreman, and then right after him, I got my first labor that came with it. We started doing more concrete. At the time, I didn't have no paver, no roller, just had a dump trailer and a skid steer. And yeah, we just started doing more concrete driveways and patching and seal coating and striping. And I invested in some chip seal equipment. And
Nice.
Yeah, that was a godsend for us because there's nobody that does chip seal in Tennessee. So down Chattanooga, there's still a lot of chip seal, but where I'm at, you can't get oil, you can't find rock. So I was able to find 2 places to get rock. I found a place to get oil. It's 2 hours away. And
so it's still quite a ways for you to go to get it.
Yes, but still, I mean, when you're the only avenue in that field, you set the price for that industry.
Sure.
And people pay for it. So, and especially when they're saving half the money of what they pay for asphalt, they save a lot of money. You make pretty good money out of it. So, we seen growth. We started getting bigger on that. And then the end of my second year, we acquired a paving machine and a trailer.
Nice.
So that was a big blessing that happened for us.
So that was end of year 2.
Yes, end of year 2. So
year 3 is where we're at now.
We're in year 3.
So you used your paving machine first 2024.
Yes.
Yeah,
well, 2023. As soon as I got it, I had a pretty good sized paving job.
Okay.
That I had another company that I did get paving jobs in 2023, but I was renting another company's paver, roller guys, dump trucks. You know how it is when you're first in business. You don't have the equipment, so you got to kind of go out and find people that you could rent stuff just to make things happen. And yeah, we had this big job as the last job of the year. I was able to get a paver right before it, so I saved a lot of money in that. And yeah, dead winter, we paved it. If I remember, it was like 70 tons of asphalt, which was pretty big for us,
Nice.
So
heck yeah.
But
and especially for a tilt deck. So I'll tell the audience that those of you guys that don't know, so they make a couple different kind of paving machines. Probably the most economical, easiest to operate, and it's made for small driveways and parking lots. It has a hopper that just raises up and it's gravity. It takes a little time. Timmy and I were talking before this, and an average job that might take somebody 4 hours, you're probably going to take 8 hours. So with me, you got a lot of experience with a conveyor fed machine.
Yes.
So you know the difference.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's
you know the difference. When I first breathing.
Yeah, when I first got into paving, the first thing I ever had was a Leeboy 1000, and that was with the county in Lompoc.
Conveyor machine or
no? It was a tilt deck.
Oh, it was a tilt.
So they had a tilt deck, but Santa Maria because I got out of them and went to Santa Maria, they had a conveyor. They had an 8500.
Got it.
So and then coming to you, we used the crap out of your 8510.
Correct.
So we put down a lot of mix with it.
That's right. So, I mean, do you see yourself getting a conveyor machine?
Yes, definitely. This year I had a couple big jobs that were 400, 300 tons, and we did it with only 3 of us, so it was me, 3 employees. I had my dad out there, but we're starting to get bigger jobs. And
so you're telling me you put 400 tons down with a hopper machine?
Yes, 400, and with only total of 4 of us.
4 or 5 guys.
Yeah. Well, no, 5, because I had my brother. My brother actually took the day off because we need another roller guy. That much asphalt, you need 2 rollers on it. Yeah. So I had my roller. I rented a roller. My brother was on the second roller.
Wow.
And then it was
impressive.
me. Yeah, me.
And you got it all done in a day?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
so it's me and another guy on the machine, and we also did all the raking. So and I had one guy with a rake and a shovel.
Oh, you're hustling that day.
And then I had my dad out there. He was more directing trucks.
Oh,
so
nice.
He's telling trucks back up this way, go that way.
Wow.
But yeah,
very cool. Very cool.
But yeah, we made that job happen, and yeah, after that we definitely seen that we need a bigger machine.
Mm-hmm.
So bigger machine, dump truck.
Yeah.
So that's our goal for next year.
So ending 2024, How many employees now?
I had 4. I'm down to 3, so I just lost 1.
Okay. All right. So yourself plus 3 guys.
Plus 3
Okay.
guys.
All right. So what's on the horizon for 2024?
So
I'm sorry, 2025. I got
2025,
I got to
yes.
get used to that.
So yeah, now as you talked in a lot of other episodes, that next year I need to find a estimator, because
Okay.
I've been getting so much estimates, but I don't have time to hit them all. So I need somebody now to go out and share that duty with me, and then probably another good foreman and a couple guys. So
Got it.
I'm hoping 2025 April, maybe a 6-man crew estimator to help me on that avenue, so it can lighten the load on me. Because
Nice.
right now I'm still in that, funny part of the company where your hands are everything. You're the mechanic,
Right.
you're
Yep.
the bookkeeper, you're everything.
Right.
So now we're finally getting to that stage where we see a lot of growth.
Right. Awesome. Awesome. Well, and I think I'll talk about that for a second. So I think, and I've talked about this in past episodes before. The stage you're at right now is the stage where you need to step back and say, okay, where am I most valuable to the company? And I do that with myself all the time.
Yes.
Where am I most valuable to the company? Am I most valuable to the company spending 2.5 hours a day doing time cards? Probably not. I could probably hire somebody that is more valuable to Ramsey Asphalt to do that. And then that frees up 2.5 hours for me.
Yep.
So yeah, you're definitely at a crossroads right now where, and I'm gonna say the one thing to you that one of my good friends told me, and it really changed my life, is, and it's the same for me to this day, 25 years later, you will always be the best salesperson for your company.
Yes.
So, and that's when Ramsey Asphalt really changed gears for me. Oh, and by the way, Apostle Asphalt. But yeah, that's when things really changed for me, was when I looked at it and said, okay, like you said, you're going to get a guy out in the field, there are certain things that have to happen in order to take you out of one role completely.
Yeah, definitely.
And then put you in another role. So yeah, no, you're definitely, it's good that you see it.
Yeah.
And
that's what we've been talking about, is next year I'm looking to step back and concentrate just on the sales and the more customer, be more intimate with the customer. So that way we could develop more relationships. We developed relationships the last 2 years with different counties and cities and mayors, and we're getting good work in. It's just now we have such a calling for business that I'd almost need to be in that full time to make sure that work is coming in.
Right.
for my crew.
Right. Well, and the thing is, and this is where I think, and I'm just a normal human guy like everybody. I go to Walmart, I go to Costco, I hire people to work on my house.
Yes.
I'm just a normal guy like everybody else. And the one big way that I've seen guys go kind of sideways is they try to expand, but they don't expand in a way where, and it just so happened I was watching some of the Ramsey's Rockin' Roads. I was looking for some information that I had said. I think it was on Shane Found It. It was on episode 7 or something. And so I actually watched the whole. It was funny. I watched the whole as I was driving back from Santa Barbara. I wasn't watching. I was listening to it.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was good.
Okay. Did you click like? Okay, because they're going to like this one.
Yeah. So the funny thing was, in that episode, I was talking about duplicating myself, and where guys that I personally have hired, like to do stucco or drywall, and that's the part they don't understand, is they don't understand the concept of duplicating myself, duplicating yourself. Because, for example, the county that you're working for that really loves you and loves Apostle Asphalt, they love it because of you.
Yes.
They don't love it because of your paver operator. They love it because of you. So when you remove yourself from the crew, you have to figure out, and it's hard, you have to figure out how to replace yourself on the crew to where when the guys go out there, the customer thinks you were there.
Yes.
You call the customer and, hey, hi, check in at the end of the day. They're totally happy. Oh man, your boys are so great. Can't wait to see you next time. But that's part of building the business and building it successfully is how do you duplicate Tim Claborn,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And then that's the whole key. And then once you figure it out, then it's super simple, and then you just keep doing it and doing it,
Just
and then
placing it in every aspect.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly right.
Well, I can't duplicate myself in finance because I've failed basic math.
Yeah,
So.
I know. I don't even try.
No, I'll have to duplicate Raina because
No.
that's her avenue
Yeah.
of expertise.
That's
figuring out what gets paid. And
right. Well, that funny thing for you and me both is from the start of Ramsey Asphalt, I never dealt with the money.
Yeah, no,
Start of Apostle Asphalt, you never dealt with the money. So I mean, that's just not something that we're good at. It's not something that we necessarily
know our
about.
strengths.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's not something that we necessarily care about. So it sounds like you don't need to tell us, like it's private information, but sales increases. Like, what was your just roughly, like, sales increases?
Yeah, roughly. I
percentages?
mean, like as you know, as your business is out there, the longer you are, the more people hear the good work that you do spreads like a wildfire. So
the opposite is true.
The bad work. So
sure.
you work for Jim Bob over here and you put out a good product, and then he's going to go run and tell all his friends, hey, I found this company that did this, did that, and we seen that. And I used to have Angie's ads. I still have it, but I haven't really used it this year because we've been having more call-ins and more people reaching out to us because they've seen a job we did, or just like you said with advertising, just your pickup truck. All my trucks are driving around billboards, and they say, hey, we seen your truck over here and we want an estimate, or we always see your truck going down this road. We want you to come. So, that's our growth is based on our customers, and we've been having more and more. The first year, I'm not going to close the number, but it was pretty low. But it was first year of business, and I actually spent more than I actually made, which is common for it's expected. So, and then the second year, I ended up bringing in, I think, 12% profit, which was huge for me because I didn't think I was going to bring in any profit, because every time you get a big job, it's not like you're going to put it in the bank. It's, hey man, I need this now. So you're constantly reinvesting into your company, and so we had a little bit of profit. And this year, our profit is a little bit bigger, and every year we've from year 1 to 2, we almost quadrupled, and then from last year to this year we doubled.
Wow.
So, and that's all I ask for is just keep on doubling. Yeah. Just keep doubling us, and we'll just keep on going.
Right. Well, the one thing I found, and I was actually talking to another tradesman that we were on a job walk, and when you're in a position like you're in, and I'm in a position like I'm in, where we're not trust fund babies.
Yeah.
We don't have rich daddy. We don't have endless, so your business. And the other thing is, I'm not interested in a partner. I don't really. I don't play nice. I don't play nice with others so well. I'm kind of a little bit of a stubborn ass, or so I've been told. So fortunately, I haven't had to bring in partners, and so your business, my business, they grow organically.
Yeah,
they have to grow.
And
organically.
I want to say that's the first time we talked about that. And I was asking you for advice, and the first thing you said, hey, don't watch out for a partner, because they're hard. And it's true, because a partner might have a different outlook of what they want in the company. So you're going to spend the whole time fighting each other because they want to go this route and you want to go that route. So, and I see that. I had a lot of people come to me and ask to invest in the company or become partners. And I was like, I'm not interested in that, because I want this to grow organically.
Exactly.
I know I'll get there one day. It might be next year. It could be 10 years. I don't know.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But we're going to keep on trucking.
Yeah. No. And you're doing it the right way, and you're wise enough to realize that, because the customers will always dictate your growth.
Yes.
Right.
And what you do.
Yeah.
I was Apostle Asphalt, but I was out there. I did more concrete jobs last year than I did asphalt. But that was the demand.
That's how you could be of service.
And with the price of everything, asphalt and concrete was about the same. So more people are going to swing towards concrete because it's more superior asphalt material than asphalt. So you got to kind of, either you're going to go to work or you're not. You could try to be an asphalt company and stay home and be an asphalt company, or you're going to pick up and do concrete and go to work.
Correct.
So I told Raina starting out this year, I said maybe we should be Apostle concrete asphalt because we did more concrete, but you know, it's like
Or
you said,
what about Apostle Construction?
yeah, I think that's what we're going to
Yeah.
swing for next year. Well, our sticker guy's going to like it, have to re-sticker everything.
Yeah.
Or just keep Apostle on all the
Right.
trucks. But yeah, I think next year we're looking at Apostle Construction.
Yeah.
Because now we're getting into the aspect of we've been doing more tear-offs and repaving and actual construction, not maintenance.
Yeah, got it. But I mean, as just in this, like you and I said just a minute ago, we're not good at the money part. I'm not really good at the marketing part either. I mean, that's why I have a full-time guy over here, funny guy Shane. But I think it is important. So I read something, and I think it was put out by one of the universities, and it said that where a lot of service companies go wrong is they get really their egos get big, and they come up with a real fancy name. But within the name, the world doesn't know what they do.
Yeah.
Tim Construction, Apostle Construction. So you might, even though I'm the one that said, hey, Apostle Construction, now I'm kind of, I'm trying to take it back now, because I mean, it's important for people.
It might be Apostle like asphalt concrete construction.
Yeah.
To kind of put in there what it is, what kind of construction, because that's
you got to make it easy. You want to make it. And the one thing that I've been doing for 2024 is I've really been focused on trying to make it easy for people to do business with Ramsey Asphalt. Yeah. I do business with people, I do business with vendors, and it's hard, it's complicated doing business with people sometimes. And I've been just trying to make it as easy as possible, from the way they call in to the way the bids go out. And that's one thing of making it easy for people to do business. They look at your trucks like as big as billboards.
Yeah.
Hey, Apostle Asphalt and Concrete. Whatever. Yeah. I mean, that's simple.
Yeah, it's simple. It gets right to the point. Because like you said, I know many companies that do pavement and concrete, but it's not in their name. It might say parking, or it might just say land management or something like that. Right. But it doesn't say what they're actually doing out there.
Correct.
So it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
You ain't going to call them if you don't know they're doing that.
Right.
So.
That's right. That's right. Well, and I think, and in the last episode I was talking about, how we value our employees, as far as, okay, how good are they, what they do, how hard is it to replace them? And I think a lot of that basic psychology filters down to us contractors, because a potential client is asking the same thing about you and I when they hire us.
Yeah.
Okay, how good are they at what they do? How it might not be the question a potential client might have might not be how hard are they to replace. It might be, how hard is it to get them to come back out and fix my job?
Yeah.
How hard is it to get them to come back out and fix that bird bath? So if we kind of ask ourselves the same question, and we realize that the client is asking the same questions about us, then you can look at it like you're looking at it and say, okay, you and Raina are growing this thing like crazy. You're growing it organically, but the feedback from the public at large is you're in demand.
Yeah.
You're growing.
Yep.
Now, if you weren't growing, then this conversation would be a little different and say, Timmy, what's going on here?
It is. Yeah. And then you, as a owner, you got to be able to look out at other companies and see how you could set yourself different from everybody. So a lot of companies where I'm from or where I live now, they'll go pave or do concrete. They won't back the edges or anything like that. You drive by, you just look like they're at somebody's residential area, and they put asphalt down. There's nothing detailed about it. So, we take the time to do the landscaping around everything. And that's what really sets us apart is we do that fine tuning. When we leave, we'll throw the grass seed out. We'll put hay, and get grass to grow. And people really love that. They love the fact that when you're done, it's not another step that they got to go back and now they got to figure out what they're going to do on their lawn.
Exactly.
So the fact that we're just one of those companies that they wash their hands off and they don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think, and this is a premise, exactly what you're doing. You may not have read it in a book or anything, but exactly what you're doing is one of Napoleon Hill's golden rules is always exceed the expectation of the customer.
Yes.
Always give a little more.
Yep.
And it's always the little things. Yep. And I found that to be true. It's always the little things. Like for example, like when it comes to our employee relations, every Friday the guys get paid. right? Every
Yep.
Friday, the guys get paid. And these checks are sizable. But for Thanksgiving, you know, every year for Thanksgiving, we go out and give them a, you know, a couple $100 gift card to go buy turkeys and hams. The guys rave about $200, and it's like, wow. I mean, because it goes, that little card goes in there with their paycheck, and it's, you know, it's
extra.
the little,
It's the little
extra.
things. Yeah.
It's the little,
Yeah,
it's the little things. It's the little things. It's the little things we do for our employees. It's the little things we do for our customers. It always is the little things.
Yep.
So it's
That's
always
the little bonus at Christmas party. It's throughout the year, all the little, and even for like my guys, every now and then they'll have something at home that they need to do, and I'll let them borrow a truck or something.
Right.
You know, and you know, that's big to them. You know, because the other companies didn't trust them in that aspect, and I know I'm taking a huge risk and having my own equipment because that's what makes the money around us.
Sure.
But it's the little things that keep them happy and keep them coming back for work.
Exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, we talked a lot about the good things, which that's great. A lot of good things. But as I've said in previous episodes, we don't learn by our successes.
No,
we learn by our failures.
Yep.
And one kind of saying that I think it was Winston Churchill once said that a sign of success is going from failure to failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. And in the last 3 years, you'd be lying if you said no. But talk about some of your failures, some of the things you've learned the hard way, the hard knocks of owning your own company.
Oh yeah, well,
let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, well, I mean, right away, I have a job that popped up. As soon as he started saying failures, I was like, man, he must have known about this job. But we all have
this year?
It was actually last year.
Okay,
so,
last year.
And we were actually doing pretty good, and was actually finally getting a little bit of money in the bank.
All right.
And we did a concrete job. It was 27 yards, and where this place was, there was only one concrete plant that would go out there and touch it.
Okay.
So I called that
to service the job.
To service the job, because you know how it is. A concrete plant won't go an hour and a half away to bring it because it could burn the concrete. So I found this company, and they showed up. One, I was irritated because it was 95 degrees. They showed up with both trucks because we have the front discharge that hold like 14 yards.
Okay.
They had both trucks show up at the same time. And I was like, yeah, you know, it's
so trucks back there hold 14 yards?
Yeah, the front discharge ones.
Whoa.
So the rear discharge holds 10 yards.
Okay.
So they showed up.
I don't even know that I've ever seen a truck that big.
Yeah, they're huge, and they look like they're driving backwards. The drum is opposite from the other ones. So Funny Boy Shane will probably pop one here.
Yeah, you gotta find one of those pictures.
Here, put it in my hand.
See it. Yeah.
So
let's hold it.
Well, hold it together. So both the trucks showed up when I told the plant, give me about 20 minutes, you know, to put the first truck down. So now
Did you pump it or tailgate it?
No, they control everything inside. So you don't run the chute, they run the chute for you.
Oh,
inside the truck. Yeah, they pull in
and they put it where you want it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
cool. He'll put it down. So he
Shane, we're going to Tennessee. We're going to Tennessee.
Yeah. Or buying one and bringing it back.
Exactly.
Yeah. So they showed up at the same time. They're both an hour and a half from the time that the concrete's made. It's a hot day, so I was irritated already. Right then and there, I should have sent the other one back.
Okay.
But you know how it is. It was me, foreman, two other guys. We put the concrete down, and by the time we got the second truck down, the first truck was already kicking off.
Okay.
The bull float was already chattering on it, and I mean, you're talking about only 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So right away,
couldn't even put any kind of finish on it.
Nope. So right away, I knew the job was going south. The customer, he's done concrete for 30 years, so he knew the job was going south. And by the time
and he was out there watching.
Yeah, he was out there watching. He was a viejito too. He was an older guy. So
here's Timmy sweating like crazy,
literally, because it's hot and you're losing material. The trucks left. By the time they left, and we tried to put a finish on it, it wouldn't take no bull float. And it's chattering, so I called it, told the guys, you know what, just clean up. This job's done. We can't do nothing about it.
Okay.
And the hour it took us to pick everything up, already that first part turned white.
Okay.
So it wasn't gray no more. It was white.
Yeah.
It was cured.
Yeah.
And the guy told me, he's like, something's wrong with the concrete. I said, I know something's wrong with this concrete. Well, the ticket they gave me was all handwritten.
Okay.
So I think it either came from another job or they just didn't give me what, because everything has to be through a machine.
Okay, got it.
So so I called that guy back, told him I didn't want to pay for it. They already had my credit card number. We fought about it for a week, and you know how it is. They made me pay for that. They already took the money from it.
Right.
And that guy, he said, "Hey, I'll give you half the money if you keep it." And I was like, "Dude, I can't do that because you had unfinished concrete in the front. It just didn't
Okay.
look right." So
Right.
that was the first failure I ever had. Was we ended up going back, digging out that whole driveway and redoing it. I had to kiss a lot of butt for another company that I did a lot of concrete for.
Okay.
I finally convinced them to send me out 2 loads of concrete, and we finished that job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything was the way it should be,
Yeah.
looked nice. And even the guy said after we're done finishing it, it's still gray. It stayed gray for like a week. You know,
Okay.
it
Got
turned
it.
white
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
7
Got it.
days. So, but yeah, that was the first failure I had, and you learn from that. You know, right away that first sign of seeing that ticket handwritten, I should have said something.
Right.
You know, as soon as we're putting down that second truck and it was already hardened up, I should have said something. You know,
Right.
so now I
Yeah.
know that sometimes you have to be stern. You have to be a little bit of a butthole to a material company when you don't get the right material.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
That's
you know,
exactly right.
and the crazy part about it is now that company, I just learned that they sold out and they closed down. Nobody's using them no more, and I kind of see
Well, maybe
why.
that's why.
You
Yeah.
see
Maybe
why,
that's
you
why.
know,
Yeah.
you burn too many bridges, you
Right.
know, nobody's going to come back.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly right. Yeah.
but
Yeah. Well, but the thing is, I mean, a lot of people wouldn't do that.
no,
A lot of guys,
no,
there's no way that a lot of guys wouldn't have, you know, they would have made excuses as far as, well,
or they would have took half the money and ran from there. You know, that's
right,
because even if I would have took half, I would have probably lost maybe 2 grand.
right.
And then
And then instead you lost 10 grand.
yeah, instead
Yeah.
I went out there and did what's right, and I
Right.
lost a couple thousand, you know. But
Right.
at the end of the day, that customer was happy. And now when people ask if how honest I am, I have him
Yeah.
as he
That's
says,
right.
and he always tells me,
Call
"Hey,
Billy Bob.
yeah, if
Go-
you
yeah.
ever need a reference, have him call me."
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
we did what was right, and
That's
that's what people want to know is if they're going to get stuck with something that they paid a lot of money for and didn't come out right, they want to know if the company is going to do what's right.
Yeah. That's
So,
right. That's right. Well, and the thing I've noticed, and because even to this day, just like you, we all struggle with money. We all struggle, and it's exactly right. When somebody has your credit card, sometimes you don't make the wisest decisions.
yeah,
You know, if that had been something like if that had been back in the day when you were working for me, you would have just called and said, "Hey, you know, sorry, Scott, we're just throwing it away." It would have been a complete disaster. I would have been upset about it, but I would have understood. And I'd have been okay. You know, I put away, probably would have said a few F-bombs, but you know,
yeah,
the next morning I would have gotten over it. But when your own money's on the line, there's certain, you know, you sometimes your decision making ability is a little skewed,
yeah.
and you don't make the best.
You don't want, yeah,
decisions,
you don't
but
want to lose all that money, so you're going to try your
you
hardest to
try
keep it,
Yeah.
and it doesn't work out. So you lost hours, you lost
Yep.
time, and
And then you're going back. But you know, I think it's a peculiar thing. As much as it stings, and as much as it hurts, and sometimes it hurts our pride as well.
Mhm.
But by going back and doing the right thing, I think it just, you're right. You get something absolutely tangible by word of mouth. Hey, can you put a good Yelp review for me? Can you put a Angie's List review for me? Whatever. But I think it gets deeper than that. I think it just gets your company just has a real positive aura,
Mhm.
you know, and I don't even know what that means, but I'm just saying your company just has a positive sense about it, which is just going to attract more
yes,
customers, more work. I mean, it's, you know, you do the right thing, and I think that's just the way it works. You do the right, you know.
yes,
I mean, and my wife and daughter think I'm crazy. Is, you know, we'll walk out of a supermarket, and you know, it happens every time. You know, the clerk and everybody puts the bags in, and there's like a pack of bubble gum that slides down that didn't get paid for. And I'm loading the bags and I'm putting them in the car, and then I see the pack of bubble gum that didn't. Say, hey, I'm going back in.
yeah,
Lisa's like, come on, I'll pay for it next time. We gotta go. We're late for dinner. You know, it's only a 89-cent pack of bubble gum or 59-cent pack of bubble gum. I say, nope.
it doesn't
Well,
matter.
it doesn't matter
Yeah,
to me. You know, nobody knows. I know.
exactly.
Right?
You're going to
I know.
go to bed and think about that, and that could determine your
Yeah.
day the next day.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, I mean, I think, and I've kind of proven it, but kind of not proven it, that
Yeah.
I think there's, and I don't know if we've had a podcast about this. Shane would probably know, but I think there's the rule of 10, and I haven't proven it, but I kind of have, but I kind of haven't. I think there's this rule of 10. When you do something good for somebody or to somebody that you didn't really have to do, like you demoing out all that concrete,
Mhm.
it will pay you 10 times dividends.
Yeah.
So it cost you $10,000. Well, by you doing the right thing, your family, your 3 boys, you just saved, you just increased your profitability and your value by 100,000.
Yeah.
But now the opposite is true. You steal $1,000 from somebody, or if you finagle $1,000, nature is going to make sure that 10,000 comes from you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
How? I don't know.
Well, see, and it's funny you say that, because if you don't mind, I'll tell you the story of how I acquired that paver. And
Yeah,
it's
no,
based on like what you're saying. You don't know where it comes from and all that. Well, I am a faith-based company, and I am actually a minister at a church.
Okay. Oh, good.
So
Good for you.
and
Did I know that?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that. Yeah, I don't think
So
I knew
yeah,
that.
no, that last year I became a minister at a church, and next year I'm looking to be getting ordained as a pastor.
Wow.
So
Congratulations.
thank
Yeah.
you. And the paver, I was heading to church, and it was Wednesday night, and the guy that went through discipleship with, he introduced me to this guy that just moved to Maryville,
Okay.
and he had a paving company up in Illinois. And
he was retiring, or
or
moving down to the area?
So he has a bunch of properties. He paid a company to do 2 properties, and realized, you know how us business owners are, hey, I could save a lot of money if I buy the stuff, hire a crew, do all my properties, and then sell all this stuff.
Oh,
you know?
got it.
So that's what he did, and I met him, and he told me what he wanted for it, and I didn't have the money for it at that time. So he said he's going to keep it. He'll get in contact with me later on in life, and if I want to buy it, I can come buy it. And so it was a couple of months after that, I was looking for employees, and I was back at church, and I was at there's Wednesday night, there's a buddy I have that was in CR, Celebrate Recovery, and I was trying to hire him onto on my crew. He's looking for a job, and he didn't want to, but he introduced me to his friend.
Okay.
And he's
like a former recovering addict?
Yes.
Okay,
And he just moved into the recovery house, and he was looking for a job. So I hired him. You know, he walked up, I said, "You start Monday."
Yeah.
So, and I gave him a good wage, and he started working for me. And I was a couple months after he's getting towards the end of his recovery, he needed to move into a house. Well, me and Raina, we have 6 kids now. So we didn't fit in our house. So we made the decision to rent something. And I told the Lord, what are we going to do with this? Well, brought me him. He said he needed a house, and he couldn't afford nothing. And I knew how much he was getting paid, because Raina does his check every week. So and that was like the agreement I have. You're going to pay me, because I mean your check's coming from me.
That's right.
But yeah, so we let him and his wife and his kid be reunited, move back into our house. He wasn't paying. He was paying pretty much my rent, you know, or my mortgage. He just took care of everything for me. Well, what I didn't know is he was being discipled by the same guy that owned the paver. So when he went back and told the guy, man, blessings upon blessings happened in my family. You know, I met this guy, gave me a good job, good wage. Also let me move into his house. The guy said, who is it? He said, Tim Claborn from Apostle Asphalt. He said, hey, I met that guy. Tell him to call me.
Wow.
So I called the guy, and he said, hey, you need a paver, go get it.
No kidding.
Yeah. And I was like, really? And I was, just go get it? And he's like, yeah, just go get it. Don't worry about paying me right now. You need the paver, just go get it.
Wow.
So I went and got the paver, and coming back, you know, he disclosed how much he wanted. Well, him and his wife prayed about it, and they cut it down by like a third of what they wanted. And he said, hey, just give me 20 grand. You could have it. And, you know, so I was like, yeah, I gave him $1,000.
What do you think it was? What do you think it was worth?
It was worth at least $60,000, $70,000.
Wow. Wow.
For because the paver's the paver's 8 years old.
Wow.
And
low
so
hours though.
Low hours.
Low hours, because he was just doing his own little stuff.
It had 75 hours on it when I got it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's a at least $50,000.
Yeah, just a machine, and not counting the trailer that went with it. So, but yeah, he told me 20 grand. And
it's had more wear and tear just sitting out there in the sun than anything.
Yeah, and when I went to go pick it up, they had a bunch of things. The injector pump went out. A lot of rotted lines, because it sat for like 3 years.
All the hydraulic
lines. And he sent it to Kubota, and they replaced all the lines, the injector pump, and put a bunch of money into it. Put brand new tires on the trailer. I mean, he did that. He did that before I went to pick it up
on his own dime. Wow.
So, but yeah, I mean, and it's just, and like, it's funny how you say that, your aura, and that's how that started. You know, is the little good deeds that you do will pay off later on.
For sure.
So, and that's. It's a good little testimony of that, you know.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, there needs to be. I think there needs to be more of that. Well, and I think that's why we're here doing these podcasts. Just, I mean, I know for the first time, you know, I grew up in a family where there wasn't any talks of motivation or positive thinking or any of that stuff. And I come from a family to where, you know, and I'll just be honest, my dad came, you know, and it was because of his upbringing. If you had money, you were dishonest. If you had money, you were a crook. If you had money, you stole it. If, and, you know, and, you know, probably, I don't know this to be true, but my dad will probably pass away being, you know, probably a poor guy because of his outlook on life.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't, he just never knew what he doesn't know. He doesn't know what he doesn't know. And you don't know unless somebody tells you and say, hey, go try it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Try doing what Timmy Claborn's doing and just be nice to somebody. Be friendly. You know, I've got competitors in this area, and as you grow, you're going to see the same thing. Because in every market, and this has been proven, in every market, no matter during the recession, during the Great Depression, during all kinds of economic times, you'll have companies in the same industry that thrive and companies that are just in the dumps on the verge of bankruptcy. How can that be? And then you go visit these companies and you look at what's going on. And I have one company specifically down south that I'm not going to say names, but they are giving me market share every year because they have such bad attitudes. Like practically every job that I go to, hey, so-and-so was out here and man, those guys are kind of rude. I told them that I had you coming out tomorrow to visit and they just jumped in their truck and peeled away. I was like, what?
Yeah.
They didn't give you a bid? They're like, no, they knew you were coming out today. So they just literally just grabbed their cart back and jumped in their truck and left. And I said, what? I mean, as people must know that, as you know, like I guess these guys, like our competitor down south, they forget that they're human men like you and me. When you want to do something in your house, you want to put a roof, you call and get 3 bids.
Yeah, and
you want to paint your house, you call and get 3 bids.
And everybody always tells me I'm crazy for it because I'll talk to, especially elderly people. They'll all come out and talk to them to give them a bid, and I'll tell them, hey, you know, make sure you get a couple bids. Don't just rely on what I say. Get a couple bids, you know, just to protect them. And people are like, why would you say that? It's like, because that's honesty, you know, and they always come back to me because I was honest. You know, when you're honest to a customer, they could feel that.
Right.
And they'll go out and they'll see, you know, I'm not the cheapest. I'm not the most expensive. I'm always, you know, in the middle.
That's where you want to be.
And they always call back and they'll refer, you know, well, I had a couple bids, but, you know, talking to people, I just felt a connection with you.
That's
so, and that's all because of honesty.
Yeah.
You know, it's exactly how you hold yourself.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, and then let's I think we're running out of time here, but let's close on this one thing. So one thing, I read a good book, and well, all of you viewers know that I can't read. I listen to a good book on Audible. I can read, but not real well. But I was listening to a book, and it was actually a referral from a guy. He's like, Scott, you got to read and if somebody says, hey, you got to read a book, if it's available, I'm gonna read it. He's like, oh, it'll change your life. Well, I don't know that the book changed my life necessarily, but right out of the gate, there was a couple real life stories, you know, real stories, and which I love the stories. One of them was about Apple Computer and a wonderful story. And then in this book, the only thing, I mean, I remember the stories, but the one thing that I remember in this book, and the very next day, I sat all my estimators down and I said, guys, we're looking at this whole thing wrong. We're looking at our view on our customers wrong. So we need to change our paradigm. We need to change the way we look at things. So you say, and me, prior to this year, we say our customers. Well, who is a customer? A customer is somebody that buys goods or services from you, right?
Yep.
That's a customer.
Yep.
Well, I've changed it. Now I don't refer to anybody as customer anymore. They're all clients. Well, what is a client? A client is somebody that's under the protection. Now, if you go to Webster and you look at the definition of a client is under the personal protection of somebody. Now, that's the way I look at it, just like you. You go with the viejitos, they don't really know a whole lot, or they don't know anything about asphalt. Well, in the asphalt business, guys, you can get totally screwed. And I see it every day. I see it every day.
Yeah.
If Timmy and I wanted to cheat somebody, add more water to the slurry, thin the paving machine, and say, oh, there you go. We paved 3 inches on the edges, but you got 1 inch in the middle. It's easy to do, and it's done every day.
Knock out all the concrete powder out of it.
You know, exactly right. Yeah. Well, I've even seen guys with concrete. I've even seen guys where they'll form it, they'll get it all set up, and and then the inspector comes and looks at it. They'll pull the rebar out of the hole pour it, and then put the rebar in the next one, and just keep getting in. I mean, it's like
Preformed, yeah.
Oh, it's totally yeah. No, there's ways of cheating, but that's the way. So this whole year for Ramsey Asphalt has been, I've just changed, and it was kind of like, I'm gonna say it was probably mid-year when I read this book, and it really changed my whole paradigm of when I go meet with somebody, I feel responsible.
Yeah.
And I'll actually call people. I'll actually call them back and say, and I'll follow up. I'll do all the things that Tom Hopkins says to do when it, call the people, ask the right questions, follow up, make sure they got the bid. But then when I'm looking at it like, okay, they are my client. They called me.
Yeah.
They are now under my personal protection. So I won't let them off the phone. Oh, sorry, Scott. You were like you. You and I are cut from the same cloth. We're right in the middle all the time. We're not low. We're not high. We're right in the middle. And they say, oh, we're thinking about going with this guy. And I say, hey, Sally, time out. Wait a second. Give me a minute here. So Sally, something's not right here. I could understand a 5% discrepancy, but they're thousands off.
Yeah. What are they cheating
there's
on?
Something not there's something. Well, and I'm not going to say that.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
but I say Sally, something's not right. Something's not making sense to me. And then I repeat what we talked about. Don't you remember, we're going to dig it out. We're going to do the base. We're going to put header board in where you wanted the black metal, blah, blah. And I said, is all of that going into it? And then I get her thinking about it. And she's like, oh, you know what? I forgot to tell him about the black metal. I don't think it's on the quote, and I get her to just, because now I feel personally obligated to make sure that she doesn't get screwed.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel personally obligated to make sure, hey, if they're going to, if they have the money or the credit or the means of having a new driveway or having a new parking lot, it better be me. And if it's not me, there better be a good reason for it.
Yeah, for sure.
And to be honest, I've only been disappointed a couple times this year. Like the rolling, what do we call? I don't want to say a bad word. I'll just say it, the gypsies. But the gypsies come around.
Don't say that too loud. They might show up.
I know. The traveling circus guys show up. I did lose a couple jobs, and the customers called me and said, Scott, sorry, they just literally came, knocked on the door.
Yeah.
And they said that they were working with Granite down the street, who's doing that big turnabout job. And I'm like, oh my God, they like just bold face. And then they say, yeah, but the problem is I need you to come look at it because the water's flowing into my garage.
Yeah.
Or
it's cracking.
It's not right. Or yeah. Well, you know what? There was the gypsies, they were doing a bunch of chip seal in this area. You know what they were doing is they were getting that 3/8 limestone rock out at B Rock.
Oh no.
Yeah. And it's cheap.
Yeah,
I mean, they just give that stuff away.
It's cheap and lasts maybe a couple weeks.
Yeah. Oh, I was going out there looking at some of these chip seal jobs, and it was like, as I drove down the road, just powder. Yeah. And I was like, oh God. But that's why I feel personally responsible. They're my client. They're under my personal protection. If they don't go with me, then it's nothing I can do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, do you offer warranties for everything you do too?
Okay, so that's a really good question. So the answer is yes.
Yep.
A 3-year warranty. But my guys, and remember James Bell?
Mm-hmm.
So this started with James Bell, and love James Bell. He moved back to Tennessee as well. Shout out to James Bell. But James Bell brought something to my attention. He said, Scott, and this is verbatim. He said, Scott, these people are going to do the job. Even though I know you don't want to seal coat the alligator, you don't want to seal coat this stuff, somebody's going to get the job. And he says, what if we do it non-warranty? And I said, okay. And then the other sales guys got on the bandwagon about non-warranty jobs. That lasted about 7 months. The problem with non-warranty jobs, they're never happy with it.
No.
They are never
from the get-go of hearing that there's no warranty, they're already looking for things to call you back to fix.
Well, but but the thing is, Timmy, the thing is I've had conversations with customers, and they're like, "Hey, this thing is jacked up. I just don't have any money. I don't expect a warranty." It came out of their mouth.
Yeah,
it literally came out of their mouth. They're saying, "Oh yeah, we don't expect a warranty," but then once the job is done, and they say, "What?" And verbatim, if I had known it was going to be this bad, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, I told you I didn't want to do it non-warranty. Now we just have kind of a policy that if we can't back it with just our normal 3-year warranty, we don't want to do it.
Yep.
Because at the end, unanimously, we've never had a customer happy. And then the other problem is, and then it's a double whammy. Customer's not happy, and then 2 years from now, when they decide to do the overlay or to do the dig out or to do the concrete that I really, really wanted, I didn't want the $1,500 seal coat.
Yeah.
I wanted the $15,000 new concrete job. I didn't want the seal coat. So then they have such a bad taste in their mouth about Ramsey Asphalt that they don't even call us for a bid.
Yeah.
And then I drive by because I've said it numerous times in these podcasts, and I said it today. You'll never remember your successes because there's too many. There's too many good jobs. There's too many, and that's the reason why you and I stay in business, is because the good times outweigh the bad.
Yes.
There are the bad, but the good times outweigh the bad. But we always remember our failures. We never remember our successes. Now we can. I mean, you and I could sit here and talk about, oh yeah, we paved at Vandenberg 2,000 tons, and that's never been done since. And that was fun. Yeah. I mean, that's something. Truck drivers, even do you believe?
Well,
truck drivers to this day still talk about that.
That job was fun at the end.
Yeah.
Not during at the end.
As I'm yelling at everybody. Yeah. I'm yelling
when
at
we're
everybody.
done and look back and been like, wow, we did this
holy.
in 2,000 tons and not to mention 8 hours.
Yeah,
8 hours.
Yeah. But anyway, so the double whammy with that is the double whammy with the non-warranty is the customer's never happy.
Yeah.
And then you ultimately lose the real job that you wanted.
Yeah. Well, and then not to mention like how you're saying a client, that's why I asked that, because I offer warranty on everything I do too. And it's two things. It protects them, but it also holds you accountable to give them what they want. Because if you don't do the job right, you're going to be out there again.
Correct.
So, that's, and I always explain that to a customer. He's like, well, you do have a warranty, so it's going to be done right, because I don't want to have to come back. I'll be losing the money. Yeah. So we're going to do it right the first time.
Well, Timmy, when I meet with a customer, I never talk about money. I never talk about anything like that. But you know what I've done? What I've started to do? What I've started to do this year, or I don't remember, maybe it was a couple years ago. But what I've started doing is when Sally homeowner or the church parking lot, because churches, and you being in the cloth now, literally you're in the cloth now. Sometimes they're underfunded, under budgeted, and so what I found is when they've done their Google research and then they call me out and they say, hey, we just want to paint it black and stripe it white. I literally tell them, I just say, you would not be happy with that job. Yeah. I'll tell you right now. Yeah. I mean, I'm honest with them.
Well, yeah, no, there's a lot of jobs that I looked at a job. They say, well, I want seal coat. It's like, well, it's past seal coat. It's like, well, I don't have the money to do asphalt. I was like, yeah, but you're going to waste your money in seal coat. Why don't you wait?
Save it.
Yeah, wait a year or two, save that money, and we'll come back and do it right. Because if not, we're going to seal coat it. I give it maybe a month or two, and you're going to be upset.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, and I tell people straight up. I just said, hey, Sally, Billy, Bobby, Timmy, Shane, whatever your name is. Hey, if I did that job, I tell them, I say, I'm sure you could find somebody that would do that job.
Yeah.
But I know you're not going to be happy with it. Yep. And I know I wouldn't be happy with it. And so, yeah, but I mean, it's just a matter of, treating people how you want to be treated, treating, I mean, it's a golden rule. Another thing on that book, and I'll close with this. Well, I'll close with this sentiment. In that book where it was given the definition between client and customer, in that same book, the author did a spin on the golden rule, which everyone knows the golden rule: do unto others as you want done to yourself. Mm-hmm. But he put a different spin on the golden rule, which for me resonated. I mean, I've got a daughter, so he said, look at it differently from an employee standpoint, employer standpoint, or just being a husband, being a dad, whatever. Don't ever do anything. Now this is good. Don't ever do anything that you have to apologize to the ones you love.
Oh man.
Isn't that powerful?
That is very powerful.
It makes you think, yeah. Don't ever do anything that you have to apologize to the ones you love. Going out, whatever it is, like, maybe staying out, having a couple extra beers, or, then I have to go home and, Daddy, why weren't you here for dinner? My daughter's 13 years old now. Daddy, why'd you miss dinner? Well, obviously I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have to apologize to the ones I love for my actions. So, hey, by no means, I'm not perfect.
Yeah, I'm not perfect. No.
And we're just learning. We're just human. We're just having this thing.
We could probably do like the next 6 episodes on the things that we failed in.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
So,
exactly right. Exactly
and
right.
that'll just be the tip of that iceberg.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, let's hug it out,
Yeah,
Timmy.
sounds good.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Peace out.